On September 26, 1983, deep inside the Serpukhov-15 bunker outside Moscow, the Soviet Union's Oko early warning supercomputer detected an American nuclear missile launch. The computer reported a maximum probability threat. If accurate, thousands of American warheads, each carrying the potential to wipe out humanity, were hurtling toward Soviet targets. Under the Cold War logic of mutually assured destruction, whoever fires first dies second. Military protocol required the shift commander to relay the alarm instantly. This single phone call would trigger an automatic, world-ending nuclear counterstrike before the first American warheads could even reach their targets. Within seconds, the sirens wailed again. The system registered a second missile, then a third, fourth, and fifth. The status officially jumped from a single launch to a full-scale missile attack. Soviet Lieutenant Colonel Stanislav Petrov stood frozen, holding a phone in one hand and a microphone in the other. He ignored his years of drilling and the urgent reports flashing on his console. A highly trained officer sat in a bunker built for World War III, being told by a multi-million-dollar supercomputer that an attack was underway. Yet his instinct was to break the rules. The alarms felt terrifyingly real because in late 1983, the geopolitical climate had reached a breaking point. Communication between the superpowers had completely collapsed. Just 4 weeks prior, Soviet fighters shot down a civilian South Korean airliner that had veered into their airspace. The attack killed all 269 people on board, highlighting the extreme paranoia of the Soviet Defense Command. Across the Atlantic, President Ronald Reagan was unveiling aggressive rearmament plans. He had recently labeled the Soviet Union an evil empire, signaling that the United States was preparing for a total victory in the nuclear arms race. Soviet leader Yuri Andropov was convinced that NATO was using large-scale military exercises as a smokescreen for a real, surprise nuclear strike. In this atmosphere of absolute dread and broken communication, every piece of geopolitical evidence suggested the alarms on Petrov's screen were accurate. But Petrov was a systems analyst before he was a soldier. He had helped write the software for the early warning system that was now screaming at him. He applied teaspoon logic. 5 missiles made zero strategic sense. A real attack requires a massive wave of hundreds of warheads hitting the entire network at once. Furthermore, while the algorithm claimed maximum certainty, visual cameras showed absolutely no launches. Petrov knew the 29-step Oko system was brand new and inherently prone to over-certainty. Because he helped build the software, he remained deeply skeptical of its automated conclusions. He chose to rely on his instincts. He officially reported a false alarm to military command, despite having no hard proof that the computer was wrong. For 17 minutes, Petrov sat in the bunker and waited. That was the exact time it would take for American missiles to reach Soviet soil and vaporize the Kremlin. No missiles appeared on the radar. Petrov had actively debugged a flawed system under extreme pressure, proving that human contextual logic must remain the final check on machine certainty. An investigation later revealed a freak chain of events. The setting sun was reflecting off high-altitude clouds directly over a U.S. military base in Montana. The light bounced straight into the sensor cone of an orbiting Soviet satellite. The machine did exactly what it was programmed to do. It detected a thermal bloom and calculated an attack, but it lacked the human capacity to understand atmospheric context. Instead of hailing him as a hero, Petrov's superiors issued a formal reprimand. They officially cited his failure to log the incident in his notebook while the alarms were going off. The bureaucracy needed a scapegoat. Acknowledging Petrov's courage meant admitting that their multi-million-dollar early warning system was fundamentally flawed. Petrov was eventually forced to leave the military and lived much of his life in poverty. His story remained a state secret until after the collapse of the Soviet Union. Today, global nuclear arsenals are modernizing, and defense systems are becoming increasingly automated. Petrov's legacy proves that human courage remains the only reliable safeguard against annihilation in an era of machine-led warfare.